No. Come on, where is it?
Dave, it's your Idaho Central app here. Any chance you're missing a debit card? Let's get that taken care of for you. With ICCU's card control, you can turn any card off with the tap of your finger.
You got it.
And back on again. Out, 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 out. The closest Idaho Central Credit Union branch is in your pocket.
It's the fall kickoff sale at Lithia Ford of Boise. We're going all the way so you can score more for your trade-in and trade up to a new Ford truck or SUV today. Visit Lithia Ford of Boise, where Ford begins in Idaho.
This is Bronco Nation News Live. The best interviews, the most informed opinions, the latest breaking news, all from the top Boise State insiders. Bronco Nation News Live from BroncoNationNews.com is presented by RowPaint.com, the official paint and coatings company of Boise State Athletics. All Bronco Nation news broadcasts come from the Western Collective Studios. Head down to Western Collective's locations in Garden City or downtown Boise to try some of their delicious beers, including the Horseshoe Golden Ale, the first beer to support an NIL collective. Now, here's four-time NSMA Idaho Sports Writer of the Year, BJ Rains, with another edition of Bronco Nation News Live.
Good morning, Boise State fans. How we doing? Welcome on into a special edition of Bronco Nation News Live, the Western Collective Studios. On the road today, we are in one of the back media rooms here at ExtraMile Arena. That's right, basketball practice starts today. We're going to talk a lot of football. Don't worry, big game tomorrow, Washington State, Boise State. But we are going to talk a little basketball. May even have a special guest or two stop by as the players are kind of trickling onto the court for warm-ups and workouts. Some are already out there. The first official basketball practice, believe it or not, of the 2024-2025 basketball season starts at about 10:30 this morning. We're going to have Leon Rice at 10 o'clock doing some media interviews. And like I said, may have a player or two or whoever is around join us. Jay Tust is going to join us as well. He's actually on the court right now, getting some video of some of the players. So fun day, kind of a ceremonial day. They've been practicing for a while, but this is the first official basketball practice of the 2024-2025 season. Obviously, a lot of excitement. Alvaro Cardenas coming in, Dylan Anderson, Javen Buchanan, three newcomers to the starting lineup potentially. But you got good old Tyson, good old Omar Stanley, and Andrew Meadow and Keene and some of these other guys. So I know a lot of excitement for basketball season. And yeah, we'll talk a little basketball if you got any questions, thoughts there in terms of the basketball season getting underway. Tyree just secured season tickets for year 2 at ExtraMile Arena. They've already sold a record amount of season tickets for the basketball team this year. So you think all these football sellouts are, a thing that's becoming a big deal right now and kind of the norm now to sell out a football game. You're going to see a lot of big crowds and sellouts probably for the basketball season as well. A ton of hype, ton of attention as the team goes for their 4th straight bid to the NCAA tournament. So we'll talk some basketball. We'll talk some football as well. Again, RowPaint.com, our title sponsor. Check them out, ROEPaint.com, our title sponsor. All your painting needs, whether it's those concrete coatings, those interior, exterior residential painting options, all your painting needs. Again, the official paint and coatings company of the Broncos, and our title sponsor is rowpaint.com. Make sure you check them out. And I mentioned that we're in the Western Collective Studios. You see the graphic right there. Don't forget to get that Orange Chaos Seltzer or the Horseshoe Golden Ale beer. Both of those options, the beer and the seltzer, available on Saturday, tomorrow night, inside Albertson Stadium. They'll be available at local grocery stores and things here moving forward as well. In terms of the seltzer, the beer's already available. But again, don't forget, portion of the sale of each of those beers and seltzers goes to the Horseshoe Collective to help the student athletes at Boise State. So you're having a delicious beverage and you're helping put money back in the pocket of the student athletes at Boise State at the same time. So again, get your comments in. You can get your voicemails in. I don't know if I have time to a way to get them in. We do have 2 voicemails. I see Robbie Robinson commenting. He actually has a voicemail in there that we'll play here at some point. First year, I've been excited about football and basketball. Really excited about both. And Robbie, appreciate you again for the voicemail. We'll try to get to that here in a little bit, but a lot going on in the Pac-12 realignment, all different kinds of stuff going on. So we'll go a number of different directions today, but really do obviously want to focus on the football game tomorrow night, Boise State-Washington State. So much on the line. A spot in the college football playoff certainly becomes a little bit more manageable, stays attainable, I guess you could say, with a win for both these teams. I think it'd be hard for both these teams with another loss on Saturday to really be in the mix. I guess an 11-1 Washington State team maybe would be in the conversation, but for one of those at-large spots, but I just don't know if that'd be possible given all of the SEC and Big Ten teams that are going to be looking for at-large bids. So for Boise State, a home loss, 2 losses, probably knocks you out of the playoff, to be honest, at least for the time being, unless a lot of stuff falls your way. So this is a massive game for Boise State for the playoff implications and just to stay in the college football playoff race. So I think that this is certainly an interesting game. And no, Jay Tust is not, dodging us here because of his Washington State ties. Again, he is on the court getting a little bit of footage, and he'll come in and join us here shortly on Bronco Nation News Live. Again, we're going to have Leon Rice talking at about 10 o'clock. So we'll take this up till about 10 o'clock. We got about an hour today to talk Boise State sports with you. And again, the big game tomorrow night. So if you have, yeah, you're right, Robbie. I know you said Johnny because you sent it in yesterday and I didn't get to it in time. So no worries on that. We got John Reagan had a nice voicemail as well. So you can get your voicemails in speakpipe.com/BNN. And again, not sure we can get that on today's show, but you can get in for the pregame show. We'll be down at the James Kitchen and Bar tomorrow night, 5 o'clock, maybe 5:30, to be honest with you. We're going to go ahead and say 5:30. My kid's got a baseball game, and I've got to help coach and can't get out of it, so I will be a little bit late getting down there. We'll start the pregame show about 5:30 tomorrow, and they're going to have us out in front of the James. So if you're driving down Broadway or walking by, wave at us, give us a honk. We'll be in front of the James on their little outdoor patio down there in front of the James Kitchen and Bar for the pregame show at about 5:30. So make plans tomorrow night to tune in. If you're at the game, turn us on your tailgate there, your smart TV there in the parking lot. We want to get us on the TV there, and certainly excited about the game and what's on at stake. Jay, appreciate you. Jay is 30,000 feet in the air from Nashville coming to watch the game. So awesome, Jay. Appreciate you. Come by the James tomorrow if you can. Again, we'll be out in front of the James going live at about 5:30. So come by, say hello, and then go on in and have some food or a Horseshoe Golden Ale and get set for kickoff. Tyree really high on the hoops team for this year. Love the pieces. Ugbo going to be him. Also think recruiting is going to continue to be dominant in the future. I will tell you the one player I'm maybe most excited about to see is Alvaro Cardenas. Again, coming from San Jose State, what he did last year, I think he was just so underknown. I know you diehards know a lot about Alvaro, but most just average fans say, transfer from San Jose State, who cares? But you put some better players and a better, facilities and things around someone like Alvaro, I think he has a chance to really just have a monster year here at Boise State. So I want to thank a couple of our sponsors. And as I said, may have a special guest or two show up. We got one that I see coming in the door right now. You can come on in here and take a seat. Don't forget Western Collective, again, Horseshoe Golden Ale and the Orange Chaos Seltzer, both available at Albertson Stadium. Check that out and pick that up on Saturday if you are going to the game. And then again, our title sponsor is rowpaint.com. Check them out as well. Rowpaint.com, ROEpaint.com, the official paint and coatings company of Boise State Athletics. All your painting needs. Make sure you check out our friends at rowpaint.com. And Idaho Central Credit Union. This guy sitting next to me knows a thing or two about the guy in the graphic there. ICCU.com. Check them out. Idaho Central Credit Union. All your banking needs. Randomly saw our man Shelby at Shields the other day. So ICCU.com. Check them out. And again, there's a branch pretty much on every corner, but the easiest is that mobile eBranch online banking right there on your smartphone. So they are a sponsor of this man right here who you see on the graphic. And now you see him in person, Mr. Tyson Degenhart. Tyson, how we doing, man? Oh, hold on. I had you muted there. There we go. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. I was told the practice didn't start till like 10 or 10:30, and I walk in, and you're already out there dripping in sweat and working out. Early morning for you here.
Yeah, I've been in the gym a lot earlier, just trying to get my day started, trying to create a routine and just get ready for the season. So it's nice to have some other guys in the gym as well. We got Chris, Omar, and Andrew out there, and Ems. So we got a lot of workers on this team.
I know it's kind of ceremonious today. You guys have been practicing for a while, but just to be in the official kind of 20-hour weeks now and be officially in basketball season in terms of the preseason practice, what's the feeling like?
It's crazy. Like, this is my fourth one, and it's the last official first week, and it's just trying to cherish every moment, like the good and the bad and everything that comes with it. So very, very excited.
What has you most excited for this team?
I think we just have a lot of potential. The camaraderie of this team is really, really good, and I'm just excited to play with these guys and see what we can do.
I was mentioning Alvaro when you came in here. What I know it's early, but in practice, what does Alvaro bring into the table? How much of a difference can he make, and how much does he fit in with your team here?
When on the court, he just sees the game in a different light, like just the way he sees pick and rolls and things of that nature. The way he leads on the court, it's very nice to have a guy who expects a lot out of our team and can be another voice to be heard besides Coach Burns and myself and all the other coaches. And then off the court, he's just a great guy to be around. Just one of those guys you always want to be around, always trying to learn, always trying to get better. So very, very happy to have him here. And
final thing or two for you. Who's just a guy or two that you're excited about, the fans maybe either don't know a lot about, or a guy that's really going to emerge this year you think become a key contributor for you that fans should be looking forward to?
I think you can talk about the two red shirts, Chris and Ems. They've been grinding, this whole last year and a half for Chris and year for Ems, and to have them this year is going to be awesome, and they'll be great impact players for us.
Again, does it still feel far away? Like, I know you got a couple of closed door scrimmages, but you've been doing these practices for months already, and you still have to wait, another month and a half for a real game. I mean, does it feel more real today, or does it just feel like more of the same, I guess, as you continue to practice and get ready for the season?
It's a little different. Like, most of the time when we do our little practices before the 20-hour weeks, we aren't wearing our real numbers, and now we're wearing our real numbers with everyone, and I got our new practice jerseys, and so it feels a little more real now, but we still got a little bit of time, but it's going to fly by.
And I guess final thing, just expectations for this team. I mean, they've already sold a record number of season tickets. Obviously, interest is high as you guys go for 4 straight. You're the preseason pick, and a lot of fine publications like Lindy's to win the league this year. Just what your senior year, I guess, just your hope for this team, the expectations, the hype. Just how do you put it all into words here, and what are the goals for this team going into your senior season here?
Our goals is to win the Cayman Island tournament that we're in, win the Mountain West regular season, win the Mountain West tournament, and then get that first March Madness win, and then just see where it can take us. I know that's a lot for us, but it's something that we can accomplish, but we just got to take it day by day.
Well, appreciate you for jumping on short notice, man. Stay healthy. We'll be talking to you on the Tyson Degenhart show soon, and appreciate it, man.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
There he is, Tyson Degenhart, as he gets ready for practice. Hey, I want to tell you about Matt Bauscher and Bauscher Real Estate. Check him out. The number 1 ranked realtor in the Treasure Valley is Matt Bauscher, BauscherRealEstate.com. And again, now part of the Boise State home team, so you can get more information, find out about those deals at BauscherRealEstate.com. Ridley's Family Markets, shopridleys.com. 13 locations around the state of Idaho, other surrounding states as well. Check them out, Shop Ridley's, shopridleys.com. And the spa team, Snake River Pool and Spa, Patio and Game. Looking for a spa for that backyard? You looking for a pool table for the game room, a sauna? I know my wife's on me about trying to get a sauna. Check it out, Snake River Pool and Spa, Patio and Game. Twin Falls, Boise, Meridian, and Nampa. They've been around since 1978, part of the Boise State home team. Check them out online at thespateam.com. We go from one, future Boise State Hall of Famer to maybe another City of Boise Hall of Famer at some point. Jay Tust joins us. I'm not sure that the royalty of two people that have sat in that chair back to back, I'm not sure, but you got some footage out there. I know everyone's diehard about football. Folks thought you were ducking the show because you didn't want to talk about Washington State and your alumni status there. But and we're going to talk mostly football, but let's stay on basketball for a minute. A lot of excitement for this team this year.
I think so. And I mean, you heard it from the best to ever do it here at Boise State, probably Tyson Degenhart. And just spend a second on him, man. A chance to go to 4 straight NCAA tournaments. If he has the year that I think he's capable of having, and you for that matter as well, not to speak for you, but he could also threaten the all-time scoring record here at Boise State. So by a lot of benchmarks, he could be the best to ever do it. And I would argue that he probably already is, because success is probably measured the most by wins. And Tyson Degenhart has done it at an incredible clip ever since he stepped foot on campus here at Boise State. But, even seeing some of the red shirts that Tyson was just mentioning out there on the court practicing, I think it's real. I think there's a lot of excitement around those guys that in one way, shape, or form they're going to play, and at the very least add some good depth to the bench. And so, I'm excited about this season. Having a hard time shifting gears right now because we're hardly a month into football season, and the weather's still way too nice to be worrying about basketball. But I think that this team warrants some attention as early as they've ever received it.
I was telling them before you got on here, but I'm really high on Alvaro Cardenas and being a guy that really fits what they need here.
Yeah, I mean, we all watched it unfold last year, BJ, and that was a missing piece for sure. And I think that unless you go to some stupid school like Kansas, where I'm kidding, but what I'm serious about though is like schools like that, man, they have they have NIL. They can afford to miss and still hit on other guys. Like at Boise State, it's going to be hard to, have a perfect roster year in and year out. Heck, it's hard for Kansas to have a perfect roster year in and year out. But I think by adding, that true point guard dimension back to this team with Alvaro, I think it's going to be beneficial. I think it'll be beneficial come, the clutch moments, whether it be the Mountain West tournament, the NCAA tournament, or just big games on the road at the Pit, on the road at Viejas. Like those are the games where you're going to need an experienced veteran point guard that's not, you're not going to be able to shake him. And so I think you're right on that, man. I'm excited to see how he fits in and gels with this team for sure.
And it's weird because you feel like there's some continuity. You've got, you've got Tyson back, you've got Omar back, you've got Andrew Meadow and Keene and some of these guys, but then you look up and there's probably going to be 3 newcomers in the starting lineup.
Yeah, that's the funny thing about this team is like you look over at San Diego State, man, they got to replace a lot. And technically Boise State's replacing a lot too. But I still think you gravitate towards all the promise that they return, whether it be Andrew Meadow, Omar Stanley, or obviously Tyson Degenhart. And you wonder where RJ Keene is going to fit into this roster. Like they still do have a bunch of pieces that are back. And more so than anything, they got Leon Rice, Mike Burns, Tim Duryea back, Roberto Bergerson, Lexus Williams, David Moats. I mean, this staff is so connected. I don't worry at all about the culture, transitioning from last season into this season.
And as I said, Jay, I mean, I know I do work with the Lindy's publication. I know that's out, and Boise State is the preseason pick there. I've seen some other spots where they're first or second. We don't have the official kind of preseason pull yet, but I mean, there's a good chance based on who they have back and Tyson in particular coming back. Like Boise State is going to be either picked first or at worst second. And probably first, as they are, like I said, in Lindy's to win the Mountain West this year. It's Tyson's 4th year. Last year, it's going for 4 straight. Not to say all the eggs are in the basket this year, but I mean, you have, when you look at who you have, Alvaro for 1 year, Omar and Tyson for 1 year, like they've got some younger guys, like they're recruiting. They're going to be good. I know they're on some talented high school players and prospects as well, but like it does feel like it's building for this year. And I mean, we said this last year with Max Rice being a senior, like it felt like last year was going to be the year, but it really does feel like that they've been building, and with Tyson and this team, and there's a lot of expectations on this team. I think they've already sold the record number of season tickets. Like it should be a fun year, but there are some pretty high expectations they're going to have to live up to.
Yeah. It's funny when football season started, I had to be careful to say Chris Marshall, not Chris Matthews. And now I feel like we're kind of like almost in the other way now. I got to be careful not to say Chris Marshall. I need to say Chris Matthews. So I feel like he's a guy. Chris Lockett. Oh my goodness. Excuse me. See, that's where I'm at right now, everybody. That's where I'm at right now.
From editing Bronco game day for tomorrow. Give him a break.
The funny thing is I literally just watched Chris Lockett shooting on the court. But no, I think he's just like a really intriguing player. But when we talk about this being a developmental program, he's the guy that has to take that step, that next step. I think in order for like all these projections and things to come true, it's a guy like him that has to take the next step and really be a valuable piece and contribute to this roster. And so, saw him out there today, and
people are really high on him too.
I don't know if, I mean, I'm not trying to. He's shooting warm up shots. I get it, but he missed very many of them. So I'm really excited to see what Lockett can contribute to this team. Moving forward.
Yeah, a lot of expectations, a lot of hype. Again, season ticket sales at a record high. Should be a lot of fun. Again, first practice getting underway. Here in about an hour, we'll talk to Leon Rice, top of the hour, and get that up on the YouTube channel and things. Josh says, tell Jay to stop flexing. Geez. Bronco 130 wants to know, Jay, did you ever lift with Rick Lance?
No, you know what? I haven't ever lifted with Rick Lance. That would be like it would be probably fun to do.
See in the finals of a bodybuilding competition or something.
Rick gets after it, man. Rick gets after it more than I do these days, for that matter.
Someone saying Javen Buchanan is the unknown, but hearing nothing but good things about him as well. Gonna miss playing in the pit, talking about losing the rivalry there. But I'm sure they'll type some scout. I'm sure they'll do some non-conference agreements and things.
I mean, there's some contentious feelings, clearly forming between the Pac-12 and Mountain West, but at some point in time, they are going to have to
need games.
Exactly. Both those conferences are going to need games, and they're going to need games out west. And the Mountain West is going to need games that help their net, right? And going out and playing some of these Pac-12 teams is going to help that. So at some point in time, they are going to have to kind of figure out their differences, set them aside for the betterment of each league. But that's only when it comes to non-conference scheduling, in my opinion.
Let's switch to football. Big game tomorrow. Hey, I want to tell you about Lithia Ford of Boise real quick. Lithia Ford of Boise. Check them out online. View their full inventory of vehicles, lithiafordboise.com. They got 6 student athletes, including 4 football players driving their vehicles. They help out a lot of the coaches and staff as well. So return the favor. Next time you're looking for your next car or truck, make it at Lithia Ford of Boise. Taco Bell, TacoBellWorks.com. That Broadway location was very close to pulling in, Jay, and getting that breakfast quesadilla. May have to do it after the show here. TacoBellWorks.com. You can apply for a job. You can find out about all the endowed scholarship money they're giving to the men's and women's basketball programs. And again, the Treasure Valley, locally owned Taco Bell locations, the SON Management Group, the Nicolason family. We appreciate them. Great partner, and they're doing big things, and the food is really good. So check it out again at TacoBellWorks.com. And Transportation Compliance Service, check them out as well if you're looking for a job. Get into the trucking industry. Maybe you haven't thought about it, but all the overweight permits and things, everything you need to get out there and tow in that first load in no time. Highly recommend them. Check it out at transcompservice.com. All right, Jay, I do want to give a thought or two quickly on the Pac-12 before we transition into this game tomorrow, just because that was the last question there. But how about our man Derek Stevens, by the way? I don't know if you saw that at Circa. They stepped up and said, hey, we'll pay the $100,000 to keep him there. We want to have the hometown team in the playoff. And obviously they if you saw the story or not, the CEO at Circa, they reached out, and apparently it was too late. Bert, the bridges had been burned, and his locker had been cleared out, and they said, nope, that ain't happening. And he's gone. And so that was an interesting thing. I just noticed that Derek was trying to step up there. And it's funny that Wyatt took that, not for him, but just for in general, when a quarterback comes to you or whatever, it's interesting that the collective or the school or whatever couldn't have tried to develop a partnership like that earlier.
Yeah, it's clearly there. I'll say this, and I know that you know Derek much better than I do. That what a cool move on his part. And I will say this too, also some nice marketing play for him, because everybody's talking about that guy right now.
Sure, was a big part of it. He knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing.
Generosity. So, and it didn't even necessarily have to go there. So, what a wild week for UNLV.
I just can't. I was looking on the scores tonight, Jay, and if you want any crazier whatever about what's going on right now in conference realignment, I cannot wait for that big Fox game tonight. A Big Ten matchup, the Washington Huskies and Rutgers.
Yep.
Rutgers and Washington tonight in a Big Ten conference game.
On a Friday night, Rutgers and Washington playing in a conference game. Well, you won't have to wait long also to watch UCLA and Oregon play the following day in their Big Ten opener as well. So
that should not be on Fox. That should be the game.
I agree, man. I said it on Tuesday. I thought that was just ridiculous that this game got Boise State-Washington State got bypassed for that game. Is whatever. I don't make the decisions over at those networks. Other people do. And
then we got the news last night that the Mountain West has informed officially the commissioner of the MAC that they'd like to talk to Northern Illinois and to Toledo. And I thought, okay, that's crazy to begin with. Yeah. Then we find out it's for football only.
Yeah.
So that doesn't even help them get to the 8 schools.
Yeah.
Texas State apparently has emerged as a Mountain West team as well. So Gloria's not sitting back. She got her 7 signatures and she's moving on. But again, I just don't know if any of those schools move the needle, and if you really want, conference football games against Toledo and Northern Illinois.
Yeah, I agree. Look at a school like Toledo. I'm like, man, take their basketball program as well if you want to like try to start to rebuild the strength of your league on the court. But yeah, I mean, it's the funny thing about realignment is there's always some surprises, and actually, it's mostly a surprise. And last night when I saw those two names connected to the Mountain West, I got to say, man, I did not expect that. I did not see those coming. The one thing I will say about like some of these football only invites, man. I don't know if you saw the report. Ross Dillinger's, you might be the only dude busier than you and I right now, man. But of Yahoo Sports, he reported that the SEC and the Big Ten are scheduled to meet.
That is notable.
The great divide is coming, everybody. And what I mean by that is football. It seems inevitable at this point that football is going to be its own thing, and then Olympic sports will revert to their own structure. And so that's why when I think you see some of these football only invites, I think that before long it is just going to be about football. And so I think these commissioners know clearly more than I do about this stuff. So when you see things like that, I wouldn't worry about it. But one thing BJ, I know that we got the term sheet last night.
Yes.
And so I tweeted out like the minimum sports that's required are football, men's and women's basketball, and then volleyball.
Yes.
But just to clarify, because some people tweeted at me about this, that is only for the schools on that term sheet. Correct? Right?
Yes.
So that means that if they still wanted to go out and get a Gonzaga, that would be a different situation. It's just that these 6 schools all need those varsity sports to be competing.
Yep.
So that doesn't just because it says football only for
they took these 4 new schools because they wanted their football and basketball and volleyball.
Yeah, but that doesn't necessarily mean it is a requirement to be in the Pac-12 conference. So that's just something I think that
it'll be a completely new term sheet for new teams.
Yeah, correct. Yep, exactly.
And I also liked the 50%, but as someone pointed out, like I guess the CFP revenue is already shared, so there's not a lot of extra money that goes to an individual team that makes it. So I don't know what I don't know, maybe they're going to change that. They wanted that provision in there. I don't know, but it does come to basketball when you're talking a $2 million unit. That's $1 million to Boise State, and then the other teams all share $1 million. I like the incentives for having some success.
Yeah, and I mean, still in the Mountain West, those units are definitely distributed differently on that pay structure.
And when I saw, by the way, the other sports they were saying, I was like just looking, seeing for that word baseball to see if maybe some sort of deal meant they would bring back the baseball team.
That's initially why I looked there, to be honest with you. But
by the way, and again, we are going to switch over to the football game in a minute, but I would say my odds right now versus my odds at this time yesterday of Memphis being still alive in the Pac-12 certainly went up with the 23-minute press conference. I don't know if you watched the whole thing or just some sound bites, but I watched all 23 minutes of it, man, and he was just begging, and I mean begging for the Pac-12 to call him back.
Yeah, I was really surprised by Memphis's AD and his like transparency and honesty. I mean,
Ed Scott.
I feel like we get that from Jeremiah Dickey here for the most part, but man, Ed Scott was like, I'm laying everything out on the table for everyone to see.
He was talking about the terms of the deal and everything. Yeah.
I think the interesting narrative now that you see kind of almost everywhere is that if an A4 or a P4, or however you want to, whatever you want to call them, if they come calling for any of these non-A4 or P4 schools, the penalties are significantly less. They're still significant, but they're significantly less than if you were to be contacted by, another conference. But there's no going back, BJ. Like this is the Boise State's gone. Like there's no going back to the Mountain West.
No, but and the Memphis AD in one of his quotes, someone asked about the length of the deal. He actually said that was a positive for the Pac-12 trying to get them. He liked the 5-year smaller deal because he said all these media rights deals are all ending about the same time, 2031, 2032. So he actually liked the 5-year deal. He said that was a positive for him considering. And he said multiple times, like, hey, I'm not saying we're not leaving. I'm not saying we're not going.
He never said no.
He
never said no.
All I said was, he said, we said no to that deal.
Yeah.
And so he says that deal was not a good one. And I think everybody knows that has to come back to the exit fee, $2.5 million of the 25. And he even said in one of his sound bites, okay, we're getting 9 right now. Say we get, 12 there, but they average, I think he said $2.5 million is what they're counting for travel for all these smaller sports. So he goes, okay, now we're at 11.5, and he's putting it all out there for the reporters. He's like, we got to pay this $22 million back over the next 5 years. They're also trying to do upgrades to the football stadium there at the Liberty Bowl, and he said that's going to cost about $25 million. And he's saying, the donor fatigue in terms of asking the same donors to pay the buyout and then give us money for the football stadium. But I think if the Mountain West could fire the Pac-12 could find a way to come back with a higher exit fee or a better structure in terms of them not falling behind, because he even mentioned, hey, if there's more money, maybe we're chartering back, because he talked about the distance for the travel. He said it's 25,000 miles, almost the circumference of the earth that their athletes would be traveling against. He said Colorado Springs. He meant to say, but he said the closest school right now, if they go by themselves, would be Colorado State. And he said it'd be flying to Colorado Springs. Obviously, that's Fort Collins. But I mean, he put it out there, but he basically said, if we had more money, we could charter back after the games, which would help. And then if we had more money, we'd cover some of this. I 100% think if the Pac-12 could make a better offer, that Memphis is certainly in play.
Yeah, and I mean that's why I think a big step is also going to getting Gonzaga, because now if you have a basketball conference with Memphis, Gonzaga, San Diego State, Boise State, Utah State's had good success. Colorado State's been to the NCAA tournament recently. I mean that is a good basketball league, and like BJ, hey, the Pac-12 has the old Pac-12 had a long tradition and history and success, and at one point in time, it was a really good basketball league. But I would argue the new basketball league in the Pac-12 would certainly rival the old basketball league in the Pac-12, at least of current modern day standards, if somehow they were able to gather those basketball teams together. And, and you hear a lot of people too, BJ, like they feel like there's an untapped TV market for basketball that's absolutely there. So we'll kind of have to wait and see, but everything's still on the table. Not much has changed.
A trio of San Diego State, Gonzaga, and Memphis to kind of take to your media rights deal. Gonzaga, Memphis, and San Diego State. And then, we've got another school that's been to the tournament 3 years in a row in Boise State, and what Colorado State's doing, and some of these other schools. That'd be quite the basketball league for sure.
I think I joked around on Tuesday with you, though, that back when, not long before the Pac-12 as we knew it disintegrated, we got that tweet with the joint statement and the 10 remaining schools logos across the bottom. We're committed to building this together. And it's funny because the American Athletic Conference did that. And then 3 days later, you hear Memphis's AD's press conference, and there wasn't a whole lot that made me feel like they are certainly committed to the future here in the AAC. It's even funny even to bring that up about UNLV. It's so funny how, hey, ascend together, build this together. This is where we belong. And at the end they say, but our goal is to go to an A4. I love the honesty and transparency, but I think it's just kind of funny that that's the case.
We got a couple of voicemails that came in here, Jay. We can get to those real quick. I do want to switch to football, though, briefly, or soon. But let's go first. Let's go. Robbie Robinson has our first signature roofing voicemail of the day.
Hey, BJ. Hey, Johnny. I was just curious. How much do you think the Pac-12 is counting on Boise State making it to the CFP this year? That would be a great enticement for other teams, but even if they do achieve it, on the flip side, there's only a year to make those decisions. So I'm just curious about your guys' thoughts on that. Thanks.
All right, Jay, hold on.
Hey, Johnny.
Oh, and by the way, he said Johnny because he said this in yesterday, and I didn't get time to play it on the show. He said before you came on, switch the J for Johnny if I can. Any thought quickly on whether or not Boise State making the CFP helps attract other schools to the Pac-12?
I mean, I certainly think. Yes and no. It's purely from a reputation thing, because it's not like the Pac-12 gets any of Boise State's money for going to the college football playoff this year. That's why you're going to see the Mountain West continue to hype the Broncos, because it would certainly significantly help the league if Boise State were to go to the college football playoff this year. But that's one thing that's kind of lost in this conversation, or the big picture here, BJ. Boise State's goals don't change. And it's more important than ever for them to go have a good season and maybe get to the college football playoff, not only for money reasons, but for TV reasons and positioning themselves. As the Pac-12 sets out to negotiate their TV deal, if Boise State went to the college football playoff, that would certainly be a significant card the new Pac-12 conference could play, saying, hey man, Boise State was just in the college football playoff. They're coming to our conference. Clearly people want to watch them. That would certainly help in terms of reputation, but no real monetary value, specifically right now for the conference.
Next up, BSU Bill on the Signature Roofing voicemail line. Again, check out mysignatureroofing.com for your next re-roof or roofing project. BSU Bill, what do you got for us?
Hey, BJ, it's BSU Bill on the topic of realignment and what we're just kind of getting into the show right now. If you're Teresa Gold, forget Tulane, go get Memphis. Don't kneecap them on the exit fee this time. Like, offer them $10 million, $12 million, 15, whatever at this point. Pay them what they need to get into the league. They come over, you get Gonzaga as a basketball-only member, and then you're good. That's it. You got your 8 football members. You got Gonzaga as a 9th for basketball. A smaller league is better. That's more revenue for all the schools in it. And then you're set up for the future because we know what's going to happen. More leagues are going to blow up, maybe the ACC, who knows? But then you have the capacity to be able to absorb 2 to 4 more teams in the future. But for now, keep it lean and mean with high-quality members, quality over quantity. Thanks.
BSU Bill, your thoughts?
I honestly agree with that. I mean, that's the whole setup here with the Pac-12 is they don't have 16 teams and 16 pieces of the pie. They're only growing this thing as much as they need to, so those slices stay as big as they possibly can. And that's why I think they have been very calculated, like in terms of who they're going to add and why they want to add who they're going to add. And that's why, like, when we talk about, like, I just don't see a scenario where the Pac-12 just caves and says, fine, we're just going to take all the Mountain West schools. Like,
Coop Johnson says Gonzaga was 5 minutes away from signing until the Memphis deal went south. Do you think there was any truth to that? Brett McMurphy doesn't usually miss on stuff. If he gets getting information that they're signing, I mean, I would think that it's more attractive to Gonzaga if Memphis is in it. And it's probably more attractive to Memphis if Gonzaga's in it.
I have nothing confirming one way or the other, but I think that, if that's what your instincts are telling you, I think that there could be potentially something to that, in my opinion.
All right. Let's see what we got here. One more. John Reagan, final voicemail of the day here.
Hi, BJ. Would you please offer your take on the infatuation with Texas schools or any other no-brand options that people keep peddling? Everybody gets their opinion, and some are even joking around, but the whole point of BSU leaving for a better league is to cut out the Mountain West deadweight and minimize the slices of the media rights pie that the Pac-12 is hoping to grow long-term. I grew up in San Antonio. Just like everywhere else, 3/4 of the water cooler talk is NFL, and of the remaining sports fans that care about college, the only programs that matter in Texas are UT and A&M. Significantly less care about TCU, Baylor, Texas Tech, much less SMU or Houston. I'm tilted the Pac-12 might actually consider Texas State or UTSA. Nobody should care about a leftover Texas athletic program, even if they're in a quote-unquote major market. Media markets only matter when the program itself is worth a darn. See UNLV. So I say no to Texas State or UTSA, yes to Gonzaga and Memphis, then sit tight for 5 to 7 years and cherry-pick more opportunities when the Pac-12 has the revenue and media viewership numbers that will be the envy of G5. Finally, would you please ask Brad Bedell or even Kent Riddle to answer this one question? How many recruits have they been turned down by over their entire careers at any school they've worked at because the athlete's friends and family can't come watch them play nearby, but every other year? In the age of NIL and transfer portal, I just can't believe recruiting proximity is a consideration worth making for prospective Pac-12 members. Thank you.
John Reagan, couple good points there, but the whole let's get into Texas so you can play 2 games there out of your 5-year career there. Maybe is that a little overblown, you think? Or,
I don't know, but John, that almost sounded like AI, John. That was clean and smooth, my friend. Good
I think you may have written down some notes ahead of time.
That was good stuff there.
Appreciate it, John.
I still think they're significant to getting into Texas because I do think the kids like going home there. But I also think that you're envisioning the perfect world scenario. And you still have to have your plan, B, C, D, and so on down the list, right? And so, the perfect scenario is probably it's getting Memphis and then Gonzaga, and then you're at 8 teams and you got a great basketball league and BJ's phone is ringing. But
it's a sponsor. Sometimes you got to take.
If you got to step out, go for it then. Right. But that's the perfect scenario. So I agree with them in those regards. But it might require them going and getting a Texas State to get to 8 teams. In the time being, and then you worry about growing the conference later. But they've got to get to 8. I know they're on a deadline because it has to happen by July 1st, 2026. And even if that seems a long ways away for you, a lot of these deals you need to give notice Otherwise, the exit fee is going to be significantly more. You need a year notice or it's going to go up. And so we are actually kind of getting to the point where you do have to make some decisions.
All right, final segment of the show here. I do want to hit on this game tomorrow. First, want to tell you about the Blue and Orange Store, theblueandorangestore.com. Check them out. All your Boise State gear. Tomorrow's a blue out. Hopefully you got your blue gear. Check them out, theblueandorangestore.com. Or you can go into the second floor of the Boise Town Square Mall there. They got some great deals, the clearance rack up front. Check them out. I know you got a lot of options when it comes to Boise State gear around town, but the best selection, the best prices. Be loyal to the store that was there from the beginning. 2006 Fiesta Bowl. Yeah, the Blue and Orange Store was there. Check them out. The Blue and Orange Store, theblueandorangestore.com. Jay, maybe tomorrow's finally the day. Breezy Dubar can get in the end zone, and Boise State can get that $1 fountain drink and soda at Jackson's if Breezy Dubar gets in the end zone. Again, $1 Breezy bundle on Tuesdays if Breezy Dubar gets in the end zone at Jackson's. And, of course, on Monday, Ahmed Hassani, when he gets a sack, you get a 91-cent coffee or fountain drink at Jackson's. So thanks to Jackson's. Go support them. And, again, 25 cents from every hot dog sold goes to support the Horseshoe Collective. And, again, don't forget about Lean Feast, leanfeastmeridian.com. 10,000 combinations. Football team's eating it. Basketball team is eating it. And, again, it's healthy meals, fully customizable, and now they deliver anywhere in the Treasure Valley. Check them out, leanfeastmeridian.com. And you know what? The weather's still perfect. There's still time for that fall round of golf. Get out to Timberstone Golf Course in Caldwell. Play timberstone.com. Book your tee time today. You will not be disappointed. The best greens in the valley, and it's worth every second of the drive. Head on out to Timberstone Golf Course. Play timberstone.com. And one quick shout-out for our man Alex Martin. Check him out. He is renting bounce houses for the birthday party. If you got a church function, whatever you got, highly affordable, cheap bounce houses for rental from our man Alex Martin, former Boise State basketball player. And he's also running 208 Lawn and Landscape. So if you're looking for any lawn care needs, cutting grass, sprinkler blowouts, anything, hit up support a former Bronco. Hit up Alex Martin at 208 Lawn and Landscape.com. All right, Jay, has it hit you yet? That 32 hours or whatever from right now, you will be covering the game, a huge monster game on the Blue with your alma mater and the school you cover.
I think this is going to be such a good college football game, everybody. 2 Heisman contenders, 2 teams knocking on the door of the top 25. One is in the top 25. Boise State is 25th in the country right now. This is going to be such an electric and cool college football game. And I feel like, this could be one of those games that somehow they surprise us and it's a little more low scoring, but I just don't see that, BJ. You have one team that's averaging 48 points per game. The other team that's averaging 46 points per game. Both of them are well over 500 yards of total offense per game. And this is just going to be a fun shootout at Albertson Stadium come tomorrow night at 8:00. Somebody said I was wrong in the chat.
About what?
Why.
About what?
I don't know.
Jay's
go
wrong.
back up
Okay.
there.
I knew your eye was looking at something there.
I'm wrong about something.
I knew you were.
Jay is wrong about Texas State and similar schools. Go back and read what Vlad said.
Vlad likes to speak in the third person
right.
there.
Oh, he does. Okay, I get it now. It was Vlad tweeting or
about Vlad.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. All right. I don't know what I said wrong about Texas State.
I did not hear this. Did you hear the guys talking about their first trip into the press box on the Shirts and Skins podcast?
I did a little
Enjoyed
bit.
having them up there, though, by the way.
Good dudes. Man, I really thought Mark Moss was going to be mean, but he's actually a pretty nice guy. Just kidding.
First time I met him, I may have thought the same thing, but no, we were giving them some crap for being up there in the press box, calling them real media members and all that, but they were respectful and followed the rules. And I like, anyone that has a podcast or an upstart business, I have no problem with Boise State helping them out.
Yeah, I actually, it grows Boise State's brand and allows more people to talk about them and generate more buzz. Yeah, I don't know why that would be a bad thing. At one point in time here, that was certainly frowned upon, but that's just not the case anymore.
All right, couple quick ones here.
Too, by the way, I like that people have some perspective of what we do.
Yes, no doubt. No, I'm going to go back.
We don't sit up there in the press box and just hang out. For the most part, we're smashing away at our keyboards the entire game.
Yeah, it's a different perspective.
Yeah,
it's different view and everyth's different up there.
You can come come stay up at KTVB and watch.
You can go at 2 a.m. this morning when Jay's still there editing.
You can greet me back there at 5 a.m. with a cup of coffee and really see how this thing works.
Joanne wants to know any word on Sire Gaines or Breezy playing tomorrow. I would guess one of the two plays.
Yeah.
And I mean, just using common sense, and I have not been at practice this week, so maybe I should say more than you just because I don't know what you're supposed to say watching things. But my guess, based on what I have heard, is Sire Gaines, unfortunately, is not playing anytime soon, Jay. I'm not ready to say he's out for the season, but my understanding is that was not just some couple day thing. So I know Spencer said he was a game time decision. My understanding is that's not the case, Jay. I don't see unless maybe he's going to be the toughest kid of all time. But from what I've heard, you're looking at least a couple games for Sire. And I guess the alternative is, though, and I think there's some video out there of Breezy being out there. So, I mean, maybe Breezy's back.
Yeah, I mean, a video of Breezy was back at practice this week. And
yep.
Breezy was also they didn't say game time decision, but they said basically emergency. Like if he had to go against Portland State, they could have used him. He didn't have to go against Portland State. So that shows you how close he was last week. He is suited up for every single game this season. I think there's a great chance that, we see him out there.
And so again, I mean, and again, I'm not saying he's ready for a full kind of heavy workload, Jay, but I guess the timing, if you are going to lose Sire, works out nicely to have Breezy come right back.
Yeah. Timing's perfect. Yeah. And then you also got Dylan Riley and Tyler Crow. And I mean, there's some great options down there that, are going to help this team.
Someone asking about Caples. Unfortunately, I don't expect to see Latrell playing on Saturday either.
No.
But that one doesn't sound good either. So I gonna need some guys to step up. I tried to be as delicate as I could asking that question to Spencer yesterday, because let's be honest, Jay. There's been some receivers that necessarily have underperformed. Not necessarily lived up to expectations. They've underperformed to this point. So I do think Latrell probably is out for a while, and you're going to need some guys to step up.
Yeah. I'm optimistic about Cam Camper, though. I really think he's starting to come into his own, and he's a guy that you can target a little bit more, and you might want to start targeting him a little bit more. And we saw that, hey, it pays off to try to get Matt Lauder involved in the passing game. So I am not dismissing Latrell Caples' value to this team because I think it's immense. I've been hyping that guy up for a long time. I think he's really, really talented and was in position to have a great year. And I hope the injury bug hasn't bitten him too hard again. It took all of last season for him. So thinking about that guy, but they got some guys that I think can help bridge the gap while it needs to be done.
Let's see here. Chris Marshall. What's going on with him? I don't know what we can say or not say, but I don't know. I actually don't know on that one. I have no idea. I didn't even know he was hurt last time. He just didn't. An hour before kickoff, they just said he was out.
Yeah. I'm going to leave it at that too.
Okay. All right. So no word on Chris, but again, Jay, I know the two obvious storylines here is Ashton Genty, having a field day running the ball. Ideally you need him to have a big game, but also need to find a way to slow down their running quarterback, John Mateer.
He's the real deal, man. He is. He is such a guy. He provides Washington State with so much of their offense, whether it be through the air, on the ground. But, a lot of what he does, they have a ton of designed runs for him. But a lot of their ground game comes off of what he improvises, right? Like he's first in the country in scramble yards. The guy behind him, by the way, do you know who it is?
Ashton Genty?
Scramble yards.
Sorry, I was replying.
No, it's okay. I'll get you an Ashton Genty stat here in a second.
All right.
Who's number 2 behind number 10, John Mateer, that's going to
probably
play on
the UNLV quarterback that's now no longer there.
Number 10 played on the blue.
Taylor Green,
number 2 in the country right now in scramble yards for a quarterback. Wow. Obviously, he's suiting up for Arkansas, but he was here last year. So that shows how good he is. But after, it's funny, BJ, I don't know how many times I've ever heard a number of Boise State assistant coaches acknowledge the weight of an opposing QB.
Yeah.
John Mateer's put together, man. 220, 6'1". He can run through you and run around you and run over you and do whatever he needs to do. But almost every coach said it. Like mentioned John Mateer's weight this week.
Yep.
And so when we talk about yards after contact per carry, you have John Mateer followed right behind him, Ashton Genty.
Wow. How about that? And you mentioned it, but a lot of his runs are just kind of pocket breaks down. He takes off.
Yeah.
I mean, there are some designed runs, but a lot of what he does is waiting for receivers to get way down the field. And he realizes, there's 20 yards free in the middle.
Yeah. And that's what he does. And that's why you look at, it's funny, BJ, because you look at like when John's under pressure, his throwing numbers aren't great, but you know what happens when he gets under pressure? He breaks the pocket and can really make you pay with his legs. And so,
what have teams tried to do? Do they spy him with an Andrew Simpson type guy, or what are they trying to do?
But and that's why I'm so intrigued now. Like, there's 4 games of film out on John Mateer, and I think that teams now that are going to be able to throw that counterpunch at him. And we saw UW do it in the Apple Cup a little bit, but their ends would get up and they would try to contain him in the pocket. But he also got a little savvy enough, was like, fine, if you're going to get there and stay, then I'm going to get out through the front door. And so he did a really good job at times, kind of navigating through some of the game plan that UW threw at him. And so he's growing too, he's learning, but he is the real deal. And I kind of compared it.
What about BSU Bill saying he's high risk, high reward with throwing too? He
is. And I asked, Tyler Stockton, Boise State safeties coach, yesterday, and I didn't really expect him to give us much on it, but John will put the ball in harm's way a couple times a game. Like he is an explosive player. He will make mistakes. He's not a guy that is probably going to, he's not a guy that's going to come out on the blue and complete 75% of his passes, but he also might throw for 300 yards on 30 attempts on 17 completions. I mean, that's kind of almost his game. I mean, he's got some different arm angles. He's got a strong arm. I still think you probably want to try to take his legs away from him the best you possibly can. But I think, I think you posted a clip where Brad Bedell was talking about, like, this game's going to come down to things like the red zone, right? And I couldn't agree more. Like, Boise State has been, since Spencer Danielson became the interim head coach and into becoming the head coach, Boise State has scored on 29 of 30 trips inside the red zone. They've scored their touchdown success rate in the red zone this year is almost 87%. Washington State, one of the worst teams in the country in terms of efficiency at stopping the run in the red zone. They allow like 3.5 yards per carry in that tight area, maybe even more than that. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's one of the worst in the country. On the flip side of that, it was one of the best in the country at running in the red zone. Boise State's one of the best in the country. So I just think it's going to come down to little things like that. Washington State has turned the ball over at times this year. Boise State's done a very, very good job of not turning the ball over. Only 2 giveaways all year, tied for 9th in the country. So I just think a lot of these little things are going to lead to the tipping point that probably goes in favor of the home team.
And I don't want to say, bend but not break, but he's probably going to scramble. He's going to get some yards. They're going to move up the field. So yes, in the red zone defensively for Boise State, they've got to make some stops. And for me, it's third down too. And I know the last couple of games have been better. The first game was terrible against Georgia Southern, but overall 3 games in there's only like 4 or 5 teams in the country worse on third down. I mean, they're still giving up close to 50% of their third downs, Boise State's defense. So you just cannot give up third down, and in particular third and long. You stay ahead of the chains, as you like to say. You got to make them pay there on third down.
Yeah.
And I think in a game like this, you need to be good on third down defense, and they need a couple takeaways. Like I said, you're going to let them get some yards maybe at times. They've got to come away with a couple takeaways in this game.
This would be the game that it would certainly be nice to win the turnover battle. This just has all the feels, BJ, of being a game that's going to be a little more high scoring. Again, I don't advise anybody to take my betting advice because I'm not good at it.
64 on the
I think it goes over that, though. I think these teams are going to have a lot of fun. And it just feels like it's going to be one of those situations where, you see Boise State kind of get up 2 scores late. And even against Georgia Southern, you saw, Spencer Danielson kind of start resting guys. That won't be a luxury this time because of John Mateers on that other sideline. So I think you're going to see kind of like, it almost feels like Boise State's got this thing comfortably put away. And then you'll see one last gasp from John Mateer that puts you on the edge of your seats. And I think this game is just going to be a thriller on Saturday.
What are your? I mean, not to put you on the spot in terms of a prediction. You said maybe it favors the home team, but just as we wrap it up, I mean, everything on the line. We've talked about it for both teams. I think a loss. I mean, Washington State, I think, will have an outside chance, but I think a loss for either of these teams makes it really, really hard for them to make the college football playoff. I think both these teams are literally playing to keep that dream alive, at least as a realistic goal right now. Stuff could fall their way, but you put all that on the line right now. You put just a home game for Boise State, a sellout crowd, everything going on with Ashton Genty and his, hype and season and stuff. I mean, this is, again, I know they're not the top 10 team that's come in here, but in terms of exciting games on the blue in the last, 10, 15 years, this has certainly got to be up there and 2 good teams and should be a lot of fun tomorrow night.
Yeah, I agree. Man, I'm going to go like a,
the spread keeps rising, by the way. It started at 4 or 5 and it's already up to like 7 or 8 now.
I know. I think it's going to be something like 38-34, but it's going to be kind of one of those, like they get a touchdown late or something like that. So I think kind of in that range. I don't know if somebody gets to 40. I think maybe 41 is like the winning number here. But I just think that Boise State's offense is doing so many little things well right now. Everybody wants to focus on QB and still have an opinion on that. But pretty much any stat you go over right now, BJ, I'm going to pull it up because I threw this up on on my Instagram or whatever the other day, just like a little slide.
By the way, that was one of the best parts of sitting in the press box is watching Jay make his little graphics at halftime with all the different players. It's fun stuff to watch.
So when it comes to Boise State's offense, right, 7 plays of 50 or more yards this year, first in the country. Red zone scoring percentage, 100% tied for first in the country. Rushing yards per game, 311.3, third in the country. Third down conversion rate, 57.5%, tied for fifth in the country. Yards per game, 543, sixth in the country. Points per game, 48.7, seventh in the country. I mentioned that red zone TD percentage, sixth best in the country at almost 87%. And I get 2 more for you here. Sacks allowed, only 2, tied for 8th fewest in the country. Giveaways, I already mentioned this, only 2, tied for 9th fewest in the country. There's so many of these small things that contribute to how many points and how many yards you have. Boise State is doing at an elite level. I think Dirk Cutter, everybody's really excited when he came back. Dude's doing his thing. Can I call him a dude? I don't know, man.
Someone asked.
Mr. Cutter's doing.
They said, "Look forward to seeing you on the blue. Hopefully, you get another good luck tap from Dirk Cutter." Someone commented.
That was he came by. Hey, who was that? I was like, "Oh wow, it's Dirk." Okay, all right, that's cool. I'll take that.
What are the coverage plans here for the next 36 hours?
This is why anxiety levels are high. There's we have the President's Cup golf on tomorrow morning. And so we can't even get our normal early time slot on Channel 7. Big Ten football all day. So our pregame show on Channel 7 is actually tonight from 6 to 7 o'clock. Once that's over, we run out the door to go shoot high school football, Friday night football tonight. And then we get to wake up and, enjoy game day a little bit. But we're back, for a live pregame show on the Blue starting about 7 o'clock.
Okay, perfect. So we'll be looking forward to that 6 o'clock tonight, you said, on KTVB. Check out the pregame show tonight. And then, again, we'll be like 5:30 to 7, and we'll hand it over to you for 7 to 8 there on the Blue. So looking forward to that. Appreciate you guys again. Come down, check us out at the James Kitchen and Bar. We'll be down there about 5:30 for our pregame show, and I'll be looking forward to seeing some of you guys down there. And then post-game, I have talked to Mr. Bedell. We're going to be a little better on the language tomorrow night on the post-game show. I can promise you that. I know most of you liked it. A couple of you didn't, and I do agree. In terms of the some of the profane language, we're going to try to tone that down a little bit on the post-game show tomorrow. I think you're going to be really enjoying the show that you see tomorrow night on the on the post-game. I mean, they like it either way.
Fiery, let's go, Brad.
He gets into it a little bit. You give him a couple Coors Lights, and he's got some stuff to say, and he may or may not have said one too many words that start with F for my liking. But we talked to him, and I don't think it's going to be a problem. But he is not going to. I made sure I told him, as people are saying on here, I don't want him to be. That's who Brad Bedell is. So he is still going to be the same guy he is. We may just be a little, hopefully a little more family friendly on some of the language. So we'll see you on the pregame show. We'll see you on the postgame show. We're looking forward to it. And then someone said a couple Coors Lights. Hey, it was only a couple. Come on. Appreciate you guys. Have a great rest of your day. Make sure you're watching their pregame show. We're going to go talk to Leon, watch a little practice. We'll get that posted on YouTube. And again, we'll talk to you at 5:30 tomorrow with the pregame show, postgame show after. As always, go subscribe. If you're on the $1,200, the most expensive ticket left for the game tomorrow. If you want to go to the game and sit in the best seat, you can pay $1,200 for the game tomorrow. We got almost 250 of you, 246 on YouTube right now. So before you get out of here, please hit that like button and that subscribe button. We'd love to have you join our YouTube channel. And again, we appreciate you guys. Hope you have a great day. We'll talk to you. Jay, thank you for making this work. Watch their pregame show tonight, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. Bronco Nation News Live, BroncoNationNews.com.